Welcome to Ideas, a time of conversation about all things board games. Community is built on conversations, and games are built on ideas.
Hey, my name is Brent here on Cloudy with the Chance of Meeples. Welcome to a fresh new episode of Ideas. And if you're new to the channel, Ideas is a time where we get different designers, different, artists and publishers, and those in the board gaming hobby sit around and we talk about the games that they've designed or worked on and how they got it from just ideas into the games that we love to play. So today I have a very special guest from a little bit halfway across the country from myself. We have Adrian Adamescu, who is designer of games like Speakeasy Blues, Dice Themepark, one for even Xbox, known as Monster Trampoline, which we'll talk about, and probably most known for Sagrada, correct?
That's right. You got it.
Welcome, Ideas. How are you doing today?
Very good. And I also brought my umbrella because you said it's gonna be cloudy,
Well, I
right?
appreciate
For
that.
the chance of meeples. So, hey.
Right on. That's fantastic. That is awesome. So, let's start. What got you into this hobby that we share?
Um, you have kids, so maybe
Yep.
you'll understand this better. So, when our kids were born, when our first child was born,
Mm-hmm.
me and my wife couldn't do the things, we weren't free to do the things that, go out to the movies or restaurants and stuff like that. So after we put the baby to sleep, we needed a new hobby.
Right.
So this became our hobby. We looked into buying games. I always liked playing board games like chess and the classics,
Mm-hmm.
Yahtzee and so on. But then I looked into it more once I got married. And we fell in love with it. We started buying. We started, I think, with Blockus and Carcassonne and Catan and those modern classics.
Mm-hmm.
And we just our library grew and grew, and we got big into it. And eventually, I started designing as well. So
Nice. So you've always kind of had that creative bug in you to just create stuff?
I don't know what to say about that because I've never seen. I haven't even thought of games and that there's like a person behind it, a mind behind the
Mm.
game when I was playing them. But one day we played a game that had the biography of the designer at the back of the box,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought like, I wonder, if I could do this. So I asked my wife, if I was to design a game, if I was to try, what should it be about?
Right.
And she said something about architecture because she's an architect.
Hmm.
Uh, so I tried really hard I think, to impress her, just to see if I could do it. And the first game I designed became Speakeasy Blues later on, but it was really hard. It was tough. Just getting things through my head. But then what I noticed is that things became easier and easier and easier. And then the second game just took me a few days, and the next game ideas just started flooding my head because I guess the brain works that way. Once
Right.
you put your mind to it, then it just works. So I
Right.
didn't know that this was something I would do or that I would be any good at it, but here I am. So it's been a blessing. It's been great.
That's fantastic. So what are you playing these days?
Lots of family games because
Okay.
I have 4 kids.
Hmm.
Lots of family games, and I really started to appreciate games that go to 5 and 6 players, because
Mm-hmm.
then we can all play together. So the last game we played, I think, is Forbidden Desert. I played with the boys.
Yep.
Uh, there's we enjoy just lots and lots of games. Sushi Go, I think, was the second last game we played, and it's the whole. I mean, what you got up there? Look, Baron Park, we love. Century. I'm
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at
Yeah, yeah.
at what you got up there in the back. So Sagrada, of course, we play
Yeah.
that too.
Do you still play?
Yeah.
Like, do all your kids, they know how to play the game?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know about the youngest one yet. I did play it with him. He wanted to play. He's just 5,
Mhm.
but we didn't use any of the tools. We were just
Right.
like rolling dice and putting
Just
them
kind
in there.
of
So
doing the whole matching, like you pick, try to
right.
fill your thing, and
Yeah. So he knows the idea, but
right
yeah,
on.
all the details.
It'll come yet.
Yeah.
It'll come. So, you say you're a father. Do you have any hobbies outside of board gaming?
Yeah, plenty. I love nature. We love to go hiking, through the woods and the parks. And I play guitar, and
Hmm,
we go to church.
right.
I love meeting with friends and playing games, or just meeting and going to the beach or things like that. So
Right. Right on. And you speak of nature. It's crazy how there's been so many games about nature in the last couple of
yeah,
years. You got
yeah,
Earth, kind of the biggest one right now, but obviously
right.
Wingspan is about nature, and it's just becoming more and more of just a theme you're seeing, and some really cool takes and spins on nature in
Yes.
general.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I love that. I prefer it to zombies or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, me too.
Yeah,
So let's talk a little bit about design work. We're gonna talk about Sagrada a bunch because I love
yeah,
Sagrada. I got it for Father's Day a
yeah.
number of years ago. And what's the story behind Sagrada in the sense of like when did you start working on it?
So the first idea for Sagrada came while I was driving.
Okay.
And I'm a mathematician. I have a degree in mathematics, and
Okay.
I thought about the color theorem. So the color theorem says, or the color theorems, there's a few of them, says that you could color a map with colors. And for example, the 5-color theorem, which Sagrada uses,
Mm,
is you can color a map with only 5 colors without the colors touching each other on their border side. So any
right.
map in the world you can think of, you can color it with just 5 colors.
Hmm.
There's actually even a 4-color theorem. You could actually color a map with only 4 colors.
Wow.
And yeah, so I was thinking about that while I was driving, and the idea came to me, oh, what if I do it with dice? So I didn't go, I don't know what my destination was, but I didn't go to my destination. I went straight to the local friendly game shop,
Yeah.
and I bought 100 dice just to try it out. So, and then it just came from there, evolved from there. And when Daryl joined the design work, so I showed him this idea of mine. It was about mosaics at the
Okay.
time.
Hmm.
But he traveled to Barcelona, to Europe, and on his last day in Europe, he visited the Sagrada Familia. And he
Hmm.
said when he walked in, it's like, he saw dice in those windows, and like,
Hmm.
oh, this is the perfect theme for the game we were discussing and working on. So
So how did you come in contact with Daryl? You guys are co-designers of Sagrada, but kind of sounds like the
and other games.
initial and many other games, yes. The
Yeah.
initial idea was yours. How did that kind of dovetail your creative ideas and his creative ideas? Like how did that dovetail and how was that journey?
Yeah, well, Sagrada wasn't our first one that we designed. It was the one that maybe I don't know if it was the first one that came on the market that were ours, but
Okay.
we have so we live in the same town, we live in the same city, and
Mm,
we found each other, and we were passionate about games. And we used to meet. I used to work at the university there, and for lunch, I used to go to a cafe, a board game cafe, and meet with Daryl for an hour or two
mm,
sometimes, just to play and test games and get our ideas across. And we always had somebody to test with. And we just started designing. I don't know, I don't think Sagrada was our first one. It was obviously way back 2015, 16, around there, that we started. But yeah, we just clicked,
mhm.
and you know, he was also kind of a mentor for me because he had already published a game or two before I I arrived
Hmm.
in the hobby. He's also very what do you say it? I'm more of an introvert. He's more the
Mm.
extrovert. He
Hmm.
likes to go to the conventions and pitch games and things like that. So he did that business side of things really well for us too. So it was a partnership that just clicked and we worked well together. And yeah.
Right on. So we're gonna talk about Sagrada Legacy shortly, but is there anything more coming in Sagrada in like the base game? Not the base game, but you know what I mean? Like this box, you have,
Yeah.
you know, the 5 and 6 expansion, five and 6 player expansion, and then you have the three glory. They're
Yeah.
eluding my name right now.
Life.
Life.
Yeah. Life and passion. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Is
Yeah.
there more to Sagrada?
Not in this sense. Of course, we want to see how Sagrada Legacy will do. Um, but we want to go beyond Sagrada like we went with Sagrada Legacy.
Mm,
So there probably won't be any more expansions, maybe very little ones,
okay.
as promos or something. But uh, there probably won't be any more expansions. We had the three facades and the 5-6 player, and I'm happy with where it is. But something new along, but we'll have to see and wait and see how Sagrada Legacy is doing. But
Be-
there's many ideas
in
that
that.
are very Sagrada-ish.
Nice. Before we talk about legacy, because I want to know how that design came to be and all that. But did you have all the window panes been play tested, or I'm not saying they're not balanced. That's not what I'm saying. But like, is it kind of an infinite possibility as to how many window patterns there can be in the game? Like, did you sit and be like, hey, if it's, you know, level 5 difficulty, you have to have X amount touching
Yeah.
colors adjacent
Um,
this? Like, how did you design all of those window
yeah,
patterns?
well, we gave the publisher, I'm not sure. I mean, I'll say something around 10 windows or so.
Okay.
Uh so and they have their developers have done, you know, all the extra
Hmm.
other windows. So at a point they used to be vertical,
Hmm.
and now, you know, it's more horizontal. It's a 5x4. So we have tested with our windows, you know,
Yep.
those 10, but I'm not even sure how many of those original ones made it in the final product because they took the game and their developers tested, and you know,
Hmm.
it wasn't our design every single window that you
Okay.
see in the Sagrada.
I was just curious, and you know, we were
Yeah.
actually, I was just playing it on the weekend, and I was talking to my wife, and I was like, I wonder with like AI these days, could you just like
Mhm.
type in 4x5 window, these parameters,
Right.
and just pump out
Well,
windows like virtually
there is
endlessly?
something in the yeah. I don't know if I can talk about that, but there are ideas where we may be able to generate windows and things like
Okay.
that. So
Okay.
for
Right on.
yeah.
I won't say anything more. So let's move on to let's move on to Sagrada Legacy. How different was Sagrada Legacy versus the original, the OG? Like,
Yeah.
how long have you been working
So
on Sagrada Legacy?
I would say that Sagrada Legacy is the biggest project that I've ever worked on.
Hmm.
Like it took a lot of my mental capacity, and I've never worked on a legacy game before.
Mm-hmm.
Daryl has.
Right.
So maybe a lot of the like opening boxes and envelopes, he was doing it more than me, and I was thinking more about the windows and the scoring and things like that. So just, but the testing was really cool. We had very nice testers that volunteered a lot of their time,
I bet.
you know, night after night to come and test it. But it was a beast. Like this is not a light. well, it is a light, fun game,
Yeah.
but thinking about all the things and when things come out and the tools, there's something different about the tools there too, and catch up mechanics and like this was, and things carry on, right?
Yeah.
From like in legacy games do. So it was a huge project. I've never worked on anything this big before. So
I'm excited. My wife and I love Sagrada. So, did you have the endpoint like mapped out before you started it, or is it
no,
like
no,
you
I
start
think I
going
think it
and
evolved. It
huh,
evolved while we were testing and playing, and we just wanted to make it better and better. So it we knew right from the start, like the coloring was, that was like this has to be a coloring type of thing. But the cathedral getting built over time, and I don't want to spoil anything, obviously, but
mhm,
um, it like that took it to a whole new level.
mhm,
And what's interesting, remember I talked about the five color theorem,
mhm,
and it just came all the way back around because you're actually coloring now.
right,
So it's that color theorem was used really, really, in this game.
right on.
So
So, is that on target to come out this in 2023 yet?
yes, yeah, it's so Kickstarter backers should get it in July, August,
Okay,
and it should be at Gen Con 2023. It should be there. So
right on.
from what I hear, it's on its way. So
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to that. So, something else that you are working on, you and Daryl, speaking of Daryl, you guys did
yeah,
Mistwind, right?
yes,
Is that
that's
kind of
coming
like,
out in August as well on Kickstarter.
okay, what's Mistwind all about?
So Mistwind, there's a long story there too, but it's kind of a worker placement, pickup and delivery game, but it's in this beautiful fantasy world with flying whales. So those deliveries are made by these flying whales. The publisher is also the artist, so
Okay,
they really invested in this world. You can see the love that he poured into that art, and it's trickling in for us. He sending us some art, and it's beautiful. And yeah, it's one of my favorite games. Like there was a time when we sat down, and me and Daryl, and I asked him what is your favorite game that we designed, and he asked me the same. And
mhm.
Mistwind was on both our lists. That
Hmm.
this is our favorite game. It wasn't called Mistwind at the time, so
Mhm.
it has changed. We signed it with another publisher. It expired. The contract expired, and we signed it to somebody else, and so it went through like different processes over the years. But now it's in its best version now. So
So, what was the
love it.
original theme, or like when you guys designed it, what was
Yeah.
kind of the whole take on it that you were kind of
Yeah.
pitching?
So remember, I said I'm a mathy.
Hmm.
So it was about a pigeon post service, and
Okay,
it used the idea of the pigeonhole principle, which is this idea that if you have five pigeons and there are four holes, then obviously at least two pigeons have to use the same hole to get out,
right.
right? So that's the pigeonhole principle. So that was the idea in the game that got it started. I like sometimes to start with, I know some people say theme first or mechanics first, but sometimes I like to start with mechanics first. And because it was called the pigeonhole principle, I made it about pigeons and delivering messages in World War One,
Hmm.
from one place to another. So, but now it's about flying whales delivering goods, and yeah,
So, you said kind of this is your favorite design, with you and Daryl. Do
with
you have,
Daryl, yeah.
yeah? Do you have a favorite design, just kind of overall, whether it be with Daryl or just yourself? Favorite design, just that meant a lot to you. Whether it came at a time like you were struggling with a design aspect or something, and something, it was kind of just like a breakthrough, like a creative breakthrough that just is so vibrant
Those
in your memory? Like, do
yeah,
you have a favorite design like that?
those eureka moments happen all the time. But I think maybe Sagrada has to still be um, one that is in in my memory the most. I mean, it's what brought us the first success. It's I remember all these little details, all these moments. For example, when we were testing it, we noticed that by the time people finished testing, they took a picture of their final window,
Hmm.
and we've never seen that before when we tested games.
Hmm.
And that was special, like people taking pictures of it was a pretty bad looking prototype, but still all the colored dice, and there was something about it right from the start.
Right.
So and then with the art that was added and so on. And uh, again, the story of me driving and like thinking about the four color theorem, and
Mhm.
there's all these like funny little stories. For example, my wife, when she first tested it, she didn't like it, and she said, I don't know about this one. But yeah, I'm glad I continued with it. And uh, so
You said success, and this got me thinking of something. Sagrada was kind of the one that was your first, I guess, big success. But
yeah.
besides like the monetary aspect, and I know obviously as a game designer, you design games as a living. So success also is sales and stuff like that. But for you, is success sometimes not gauged in sales, but rather kind of those experiences that you mentioned, that someone was playing a prototype, a bad prototype, you say, and they're still taking pictures of it. Like, do you
Right.
find that to be almost more
Yeah.
fulfilling?
Yeah. I think that, for example, I watched there's another game me and Daryl worked on called Gangster's Dilemma, and I've seen a video. It was published in Korea as well.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a video of these Koreans. I didn't understand anything they were saying, but they were all chatting and laughing at the table and playing Gangster's Dilemma. This
Hmm.
it's more of a party game. It plays up to 7 players, and it's about the prisoner's dilemma. It's a
Hmm.
twist on the prisoner's dilemma. And just watching that video and seeing how much fun they had and laughing, and their final reveal, there's a reveal moment where am I gonna rat on you and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, it was, it lifted my spirits, so to say.
Right.
I mean, that game didn't sell as many copies, not even close to what Sagrada did, but these fun moments. Or I remember I have a game, Creatures and Cupcakes, and uh, my daughter had a board game day at school, and it's a
Hmm.
lighter game more for kids. And everybody was playing it. She was telling me, and they were asking where they can get it. And I think the teacher even ordered it on Amazon at the time. And these little moments really, really make designing games, creating these kinds of moments in different households and different situations
Right.
make it really fulfilling.
That's
Yeah.
that's fantastic. That's so cool. So as we wrap up, besides Mistwood, no, sorry, Mistwind.
Mistwind, yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Mistwind. I'm an Everdell fan. I'm a big Everdell fan. Anyways, beside Mistwind coming out and Sagrada Legacy and stuff, what are you working on now that you can share?
That I can share.
If nothing,
That's
then say
interesting. Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, I'm working maybe 5 or 6 projects at a time with
Okay.
different designers. I love to co-design, so I co-design. It's just the fact that we can sit down, or I'm on Tabletop Simulator a lot, and we can play online and test, and you know two designing minds. So I just love that, doing that. So most of my designs are co-designs. We just signed a game with a Norwegian company.
Hmm.
So, but it's not announced. So
So this
there's a bunch of things that have not been announced yet, but
that's
there's more coming.
so needs to say you have your hands in a lot of different projects. So
Yes, yeah. Yeah,
keep
I do
your
this full
eyes
time
peeled.
now.
Right on. So if someone wants to find out more about your work or, kind of like what you're playing and stuff like that, like, are you on social media, Instagram, Facebook, anything like that,
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
people can
I'm
check
not
out?
very big with social media, but I do have Instagram and Facebook, so people can always find me there. I think I post more on Instagram just because I like taking pictures of like the games that we play as a family and then
Mhm.
just dump them on there and
Right.
see what people think. But yeah, you can find me on Instagram or Facebook. Um, but
Right on.
if you want to ask and chat about games or anything, game design, you're welcome to get in touch with me.
Right on. Well, thanks so much for taking the time. This has been fantastic finding out more
Thanks,
about
Brent.
Sagrada and your journey, and just exciting to see what you're coming up with next, and flying whales that are like post people. It
Yeah.
sounds really cool. So check out Adrian. His Instagram. I'll post a link to some of his other games in the description of this video. And I firmly believe that community is built on conversation, just like games are built on ideas. And check us out on Facebook, Cloudy with the Chance Meeples. Until next time, grab your umbrella. The forecast is cloudy with the Chance Meeples.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember to grab your umbrella because the forecast is cloudy with a chance of meeples.